Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bucket and Hoosier. I am Mr. Hoosier, and as always, I have my buddy Bucket joining me. Bucket, how are you doing? Good Lord, I can't even talk right now.
No, I'm Bucket.
Yeah, you're Bucket. Did I say Bucket. I'm Bucket?
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to you.
How was your
good,
week?
Man. It was busy. I've been just hustling.
Well,
we could talk about business all day, though.
Well, you are from the dad side. You're like me. You are into baseball season right now, right?
I'm a dad. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. Long story short, I'm still coaching a team of kids the same age as my son, and it is difficult.
Yeah.
I've coached baseball at various levels at different degrees of understanding of the game and played, right?
Right.
And it is more difficult to coach your own son and kids that are his age on the same team than any other dynamic of coaching.
Do you find that it's difficult to coach your own child because all you see is yourself and like the mistakes that you can identify, like, hey, I know what you're doing, don't do that, like, mentally?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because I just want to be dad too. Like, I want to just play catch and not have to like teach it. I want to just throw balls to him and let him hit it, like whatever it is. So we play basketball in the driveway, right? Like whatever. Just want to be dad and let's get through stuff. I can work with you if you want to, but I don't want to be like forcing anything on you like that. But when you're the coach, that line gets blurred, so it's difficult.
Yeah, I definitely don't have to I don't have to worry about that when it comes to baseball because I didn't grow up playing baseball, so I have no interest in even trying to coach because I know some things, but I feel like it would be imposter syndrome out there being like, you need to do this while I'm sitting here back in my head. What you don't know, kid, is that I didn't do any of this, and I have no clue what I'm doing technically, so don't listen to me. But, yeah, it's kind of weird. I've found that with basketball, because I was a big basketball player. And so, like, yeah, my kid starting to get into basketball and everything, you're just like, well, do this, do that. Like, it's like fighting you want to tell them the things that you didn't do that you know would have made you better. But at the same time, you're like, you kind of have to figure that out on your own, kid. Like, I can't give you every answer to it. You just gotta do it if you want to be good at it. So,
yeah, this conversation could go on for a while, but it's interesting. Not a lot. I don't see a lot of kids just out there playing baseball anymore, or even basketball, just on this, like in a yard somewhere, just have the stuff, whatever. I don't know if it's the times or where I live or what it is. I just don't see it a lot. But what I'm waiting for, and I don't know if it's when it's going to happen, is for my kids to come to me and say, this is what I want to do now. Like, not specifically for the rest of their lives or anything, but have a love for what they're about to do, right? I did that with baseball. That's all I wanted to do all the time, was just play in the yard with friends, wherever, all summer. I was just out doing it. And I've yet to get that, like catch that. So we just cycle a bunch of sports, a bunch of other things that aren't sports, whatever it is, right? To try and spark their interests. And they've not come back and said, I definitely don't want to do X again. I want to do Y one more time in a row or whatever. And that's the same thing here. I see it with video games too, but that is still new for parents to understand what that means, right? Like 99.9% of all the kids that play a sport are not going to go on to be professional athletes. They are not going to go on even to play college in that sport, more than likely. Every time you level up in a sport, and every year, it's a crazy statistic about like 80% or something of the kids you played with don't play again the next year, right? Like it keeps dropping off the older you get.
Right.
And with video games, they're just always around.
Yeah, they don't go anywhere.
But there is a window for being good at them too. And not every kid is ever going to play enough or be good enough to play professionally. So why put that on your kid for anything, let alone negatively for other things, right? So I try to have a healthy balance of screen time and this and that and all the other things, but it's very interesting now with the way kids are that screens are just predominant, right? So you always have to, that they have it in front of them all the time.
They do, and it's crazy to think that it's not the same, but at the same time, like there's still the same fundamental parts there of being a kid. Just it operates a little differently now than it did when we were kids. I mean, hell, like I think we're like the last generation to know what it was like to. I saw a TikTok about it of laying in your bed on a Saturday and not like you didn't have anything to do, but just sit there and listen to outside and just be with your own thoughts and just, I don't know, just kind of exist.
Yeah, listen to music. Like that's it, right? And
Right.
not to say that that's not the case anymore. I don't know how we got this far, but I'm just saying, youth sports does involve a lot of differences now than it did.
It really does. It's kind of interesting.
So it's hard to put yourself in that situation, like, well, I did this, I did that, because it's completely different.
It's a lot different now. Yeah, because I think my wife and I were talking about this because my wife, she didn't really do any like sports or any really extracurriculars when she was coming up as a kid. But it seems like now you kind of touched on it, how people are more of like, oh, like you need to be good at this or you're going to like trying to go pro at that. There's no like recreational, just put kids together and you go and play. Like that's almost non-existent now. It's now you have to go be a part of a club if you want anything with some sort of a structure. There's no just structure in the community anymore to help give kids something to do. So
interestingly enough, we did that. So for this baseball season, we had a group of kids that we've gone to multiple sports with, right? Like they played football together, they played soccer together, but they're at this age now where there's like a 2.5 year age gap, and it gets more refined as you get older, right? Like 8U, 10U, 11U. So we would have had to play up to like most of the kids level they weren't at in order to keep all the kids. So we had this weird decision to make, and it was, what we decided was to create a development team. So we didn't join a league, we didn't join other things, we didn't have tryouts. We just got all the kids we knew, then we asked them who else they knew that were the same age and wanted to come and learn the game, and we just have had practices forever. And then we have now scheduled scrimmages with other teams that are in leagues that we've have made contacts with or have in our network. So our kids are getting game sense too, but it's not like scheduled, it's not sanctioned, it's all just us putting it together and making it happen. The most recreational thing you can do, but we're like developing their skills as coaches too. It's super interesting way to do it.
Sounds like the right way to do it. That's a lot of work for a parent as well.
Yeah,
I could definitely see that. So yeah, not sure how we got on that topic, but it was a good little segue into how the week has been going. Definitely busy as parents as always, so very fun.
totally.
But there was Rocket League the past 2 weeks. Last time we were on, we had our episode with Sathu and Greg talking about everything from the major. That was a great conversation.
Those guys are so good at so many things, and they do so well up here, just firing from the hip and going with the flow and explaining things in a just enlightening way. I love having them up here.
They do. But since that conversation, there was on the NA side, we did have for major leading up into split 2, we did have the first Open Qualifier, which is labeled as Open Qualifier 4. 4, which started off kind of interesting for the week because we saw, I would consider them a big name, Dignitas not making it to the Swiss round. They were taken out in the preliminaries, the first weekend, with a kind of a controversial matchup. Who did they play against? I'm trying to remember. I gotta go back. It's buried on the other website. But I know like they played NRG or something. Like it didn't make sense how those two teams got matched up that deep into the bracket like that. Like you would think that's not how that should go, especially a team that did have Dignitas being a team that has points, has been in the running. If we go look at the rankings for NA,
what is that website called with the
start.gg?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, start.gg.
I was thinking of the old one. It used to be,
but like Dignitas in the first split, so qualifiers 1, 2, and 3. They had 9 points, 4 points, 5 points. So, they had made it all the way through. And then you got, I don't know, who was a team that qualified, that got into the top 8? Well, I mean, okay. I guess if we're really looking at this, it's been really tight. Because what is it? It's the top 16 go into Swiss. Yeah, so a team like Cold, Cheers, and Nether American Canada. Okay. Like those are 3 teams we have not heard of. Looking at their rosters, Taraco's on one of the teams. From Team Cheers, we had Sosa. That's a name that has come across before in Cam. And then on Team Cold, yeah, no names that I really know of. So you kind of, I don't know, you kind of feel for Dignitas on that one. Like they kind of got shafted going in there. But I mean, this is what we're talking about now. An open qualifier, anything can happen. So,
well, yeah, because NRG had to play Space Station in the uppers, right? So Dignitas would have had to either play Space Station or NRG.
So Dignitas was knocked down to the lowers a lot sooner.
Yeah, but I mean, in that final round, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, because they got knocked down so early, that they had to fight their way back. Had they gone further in the uppers, they could have probably had more like one of these other teams you just said, Netherlands, America, Canada, or whatever, right? Like those would have been the matchups.
Can you see
when
who
you go
Dignitas
down that late,
who they got knocked down by?
Yeah, it was BK.
Have it your way.
Because BK
have it your way
goes to BK. Man, they make this so difficult.
Well, all right. That Cripple Threat,
who lost to Moist in the winners round, and then they lost to Cold. And Triple Threat is T. Carell, Talk, and Varisto.
Hang on, I'm doing some quick math, which is terrible on my end. 18,
quick math.
24. So like Dignitas had a shot. Because I remember Dignitas having a shot in the first major to get into that number 4 spot. It was mathematically possible. And now you're talking about with this open qualifier, a team that was up there in the running to go to the major got taken out in Open Qualifier 4 and only registers 1 point for Open Qualifier 4. And so now, all right, it's almost what they did in the first split. It kind of goes back to what Sathu and Greg were talking about. No matter what you did in the first split, it almost doesn't matter now unless you won the major. Like now, this is the split that matters, and everything is on the line.
Yeah, they said something about the points values being higher.
Did the point values go? I do remember that, of them saying that point
like
values
Genji
went
got
up.
20 for winning Open Qualifier 4.
Yeah, and G2 only got 16. So you get, it's almost like +4 in points now.
So G2 has 68 points total from
G2. G2 has 84.
84. I'm talking about plus the 16 that they got.
84 with the 16. Yes. It's G2 with 84, Genji 69, Luminosity.
But again, that only matters for Worlds.
Correct.
So right now for 4 Worlds, if it started after this Open Qualifier 4.
Wait, not by the way this looks. Because that says rankings. So let me look here at Major 2. Is it overall for Major 2 as well? Is there not a split?
No, Major 2 is just for Open Qualifier 4, 5, and 6. But full rankings takes in consideration every Open Qualifier and Major.
Okay, so Liquipedia doesn't have a ranking for Major 2.
So let's say G2 has the most, 84. Let's say they don't make Open Qualifier 5 or 6. That doesn't let them make Open Qualifier or Major 2. Some other team is going to get 20 points for each of those and knock Genji or G2 out, essentially. Two teams could. Multiple teams could. You have to make it a longevity to make it to Worlds.
Yeah, it's almost like they are incentivizing, like,
am I wrong? This is how I'm reading everything. And this is what happens when they change it after we just got it figured out.
Well, I mean, according to everybody, the changes that they made were for the better, so that's kind of what we have to go with right now.
But I'm asking, are we wrong? Like, Open Qualifier 1, 2, and 3 get you into the major, 4, 5, and 6 get you into Major 2, and then all those combined get you into Worlds.
I believe so, yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
What's
up, Joel?
I don't think you're wrong. I think you got it right. I
think you got it right.
I think you got it right.
Okay.
So,
I mean, whatever, man.
I was more pointing out that I thought it was kind of crap that a team, just the way that matchup came up. Like, yeah, you should win. Yes, you should win. If you win, you're in, and that's all that matters.
That's been the theme every year. Is everyone has a complaint about something, but then the argument is, we'll win the games.
That's true. Win the games. So I nullified my own argument there. So good on me.
But it's not wrong, right? But the problem persists because the fans want to see their favorite players and teams in the live events, and or on the televised, quote unquote, televised live streams, and the orgs themselves,
right,
want to have a spot. Right, and that was one of the big things, wasn't it, with a team that made it, Cloud9. But they made it.
Yeah, they made it. So they made it, but
do you think there was pressure on these kids for that? Like
on
a
Cloud9?
new pressure that they hadn't had before. The players
on Cloud9.
Yeah.
At this point, and this could be a controversial take, don't care. If I'm Lion Blaze, I feel no pressure at this point because I got an org to freaking sign me after a player that has been talked about and hyped up for the last couple of years. I mean, yes, he made it into Swiss. This team made it in Swiss. Cool. But it's another player that we haven't seen fully perform the way that they're supposed to. So he beats up on people in the collegiate level, but then can't do it at this level. So what do you expect at this point? Other than he's performing as he's supposed to. So hopefully he doesn't have any pressure on his back because he hit his mark where he's expected to finish up.
Okay. I hear you.
Yeah.
Cloud9, interestingly enough, though.
The thing with Cloud9 that I can't figure out right now
has 20 points.
They have 20 points
towards the Worlds.
Oh, that's right, because they carried over their other points. That's right. Because they were omelet before. The thing with Cloud9 that I can't completely figure out is what changed for the organization. Because they had even said they would come back if it was advantageous for them, like saw that they were working with orgs better. And I don't feel like that landscape has changed. So what were they promised that got them to come back to Rocket League? Because there's no guarantee for an org right now. We just saw it with Dignitas. So I'm kind of curious what they were told behind the scenes that got them to come back into the scene as a whole. And also why they went with that team and not one of these other fantastic teams like the Snowmen. Were you tracking any of their run at all?
Doesn't sound like I have the same info as you. What are you about to say?
I think they were the youngest. They are the youngest team overall to qualify for to get into day 2, or get into the Swiss round. I believe average their age is 14 and a half. So
years,
yes. Years as in age on this planet, not age playing Rocket League. So
years old,
yes.
That can't be right.
No, it's right. And they finished 3rd, 4th. So it seems that we might have the NA Queso run on our hands if these kids can keep performing, these young gentlemen.
It looks like one of them drew their logo.
It looks fantastic. They are a grassroots team that are going to do it on their own.
That's super interesting. 2 points. Cloud9, I don't know what changed. I don't know if anyone's even talked about it. Have you seen it?
As far people talking about why Cloud9 came back? No, everybody's just excited that Cloud9 came back.
I've seen nothing.
Yeah, it's just been all Cloud9
and Snowmen look good. They did. I watched some of their games, not a lot, but I didn't realize how young they were.
Yeah, super young team. I think even Greg had messaged me after they lost to Gen G, and he was even saying he's like, people don't know, he's like, I think they've scrimmed against them. He's like, people aren't even ready for them. They're the team. They are a really good team. What was his? He's been trying to tell people about the Snowmen boys. And the funny part about it, I don't know if you caught on to that, who one of their players is, which is Frosty, who was let go by NRG after not even getting to actually play for them.
Yeah.
So, Which I had said that, and someone said he's having more success than NRG has had in the last 2 years, and he was dropped by NRG. So, kind of
listen,
a funny story for them.
What does that mean?
What do you mean?
Why is that important?
I guess it's why did you why did you drop him before you even went and played? What was it mixing? And who decided that? And so is someone misanalyzing talent? Like you're stuck. It's almost like an NFL team, right? Like it's kind of like take the Atlanta Falcons, right? Atlanta Falcons signed Kirk Cousins in the offseason, and then they go to the draft and they draft another quarterback. It's like, who is managing this stuff? And what are you seeing? What made you think that was the right move? And honestly, like we all get to look at this afterwards and analyze it, which that's the fantastic part of being in our situation. But it still raises the questions of, well, then why did you guys drop him? Like he went with another team and they seem to be doing just fine and you guys are struggling. So who made that decision?
So you think that they messed up by dropping him, or that's why people are saying that.
History will say that because that's what the results show right now.
But who's to say? Number one, you can only keep so many kids on your roster, right? It's not the NFL. You can't have 2 quarterbacks. You just can't.
Right.
I mean, here, right? You can't have a backup for every player ready to go. And the other point is, what if it was mutually beneficial for both of them to say, this isn't going to work for us. We have a team who we believe in and we have chemistry with, and this is our fit. And we don't want to put you in a situation that you don't strive in. It's like saying that you broke up with someone and then they went and found someone better. And you're like, so good for them. I'm not going to be bitter about that.
But did they find anybody better? The results are saying no.
Fair enough.
So, again, it goes back to
who made
the decision.
The person, yeah, right. The Frosty found someone better, right? Seemingly. Maybe. Goes all the way back to that maybe. Just wait.
So you're saying Frosty decided to leave NRG?
No, I'm saying they broke up with Frosty. Frosty found someone better. Good for him.
Right. No, it's good for Frosty. I agree. I'm looking at NRG and going, what are you guys doing?
Well, NRG, you can't be bitter about that. You got to go say, good for you. Congrats, man.
Right. NRG,
we got our team still. We're building. We have a plan. We didn't make it this time, but we're going to make it next time. Right. Like,
and that's the question. What are you building? You obviously had something that, from the looks of it, would have been a good building block. And then you just shanked it away and said, nope. Oh, that support beam? Yeah, get rid of that one.
They just didn't fit.
So this goes back to the conversation that you and I have had a ton. And honestly, I'm curious what Greg, and I would be curious of Greg and Sathu and even Jasu's opinion on it, which is, at what point do the players not get to control who's on the roster anymore? Whoever, like, it's honestly, it's got to be a player thing, right? That it has long been said the players make the decisions on who the roster is.
I see where you're going now.
No, there's no general manager, nobody like actually making these decisions except for the players, because the players hold the control on the points.
They have all the cards and they get to decide who's in the hand.
So if I'm an org, at what point do I get, like, it comes back to what the question has always been. What's the advantage to the orgs in this right now? Other than exposure. So, I don't know. It makes me look at what is going on over at NRG, who's pulling the strings right now, and who's in charge. And I really don't want to say it, But is it time for Garrett G to retire?
We had the same conversation with Turbo.
And I was riding high on Turbo. Yes, Turbo needed to retire. He didn't fit what was going on anymore. It's been long enough I can actually say it. So, is it time for Garrett G to retire? I don't know. Is he honestly right now at this point, he has to be the one that's pulling the strings, managing it all, giving the final go ahead on whatever happens. Because I can't imagine that it's in somebody else's hands. He's been with NRG too long.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Tom Brady. At some point, it just doesn't work and you need to go somewhere else. So
that's fair.
What is the answer for NRG? Because right now they cannot find it. As we see, NRG doesn't make it out of Swiss. They drop to Moist. They win a game against Cheers, lose 3-0 to Space Station. They do beat Deleted. Oh, I didn't even realize Deleted made it in this time. That's cool. And they lost to Cloud9. So
yeah. And they've got a semi-young kid too, right? Not as young as
who's that?
Aqua. He's not very old. Can't be more than 18, 16, 17.
Yeah, Aqua is not that old. Aqua came in at the same time as Daniel. Remember when that came in, it was supposed to, like, that was the two big names, and was Daniel and Aqua, and the other one not talked about as much, but was notable, was Beast Mode. So then we've seen Daniel and Beast Mode really catch fire and do with what they were projected to do. Excuse me. And Aqua hasn't had really the same turnout right now. He is 17, so you're really close.
Ooh.
But
all right, fair enough. I was just piggybacking.
I will say this.
Say it.
I forgot Fireburner had to sub in. Fireburner did have to sub in because I think Aqua had an issue with his internet. So I will put a bookmark in my statements and we'll see what happens this next week. I completely forgot that. Yeah, I'll put an asterisk on it and until we see what happens. Yeah, I completely forgot he had a sub in. I thought I'd seen that.
Asterisk.
That's the hard part about following like the first day of everything is I'm an adult and I'm at work.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on to try and keep up with.
Even on a Friday.
Yeah.
Where you seemingly most people don't do a lot of work.
Yeah, well, my Fridays are hit or miss, so sometimes it's super busy, sometimes it's not. And this time it was busy, so I was not able to completely keep up, but that's why we're here trying to catch up on all of it now.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so overall, I mean, for this past week, the talk of the town was Snowmen. They 3-0'd, coming out of Swiss. They did beat Genji in the Swiss, so that was a big win for them. Other thing, Luminosity, they didn't make it out of Swiss. Tough go for them. Losing to OG and Genji. Looks like they just had a bad day against Nether. And then Snowmen making their run. They do beat Cloud9, and then they were playing really good against Genji, and then Genji took their time out, and their adjustments were just they were keeping Snowmen just out of. They were, I don't know how to describe it. just it felt like the snowmen were not rotating at all anymore. They were discombobulated. They couldn't get a handle back on the game, and it was Genji's match overall to win from there. As Genji, they had gone down 2-0, and then they make a 4-game run, winning 3-1, 2-1, 4-2, 2-0. So good on Genji for making that comeback, and then being able to take down G2 there in the finals. But the biggest thing out of that finals was, I think, everybody realizing you can never count G2 out. Those guys, those three will come up with something ridiculous. Like, it doesn't matter no matter how little time is on the clock, they will figure something out and get that ball into the net to either tie it up or win the game. Like, which one was it? That was an OT goal. I think that Neo Tokyo won in game 6. I believe they tied it with 4 seconds left. Like, they were down 1-0 and they finally got one in. So, yeah, you can never count G2 out, but good on Genji for closing it out, getting their win, and moving this all forward into the next section. But
that's 100% their MO, though, right? Not
is.
To come from behind, but that they're that good. They just are.
Right. They really are.
If you're ever gonna not count a team out, it's gotta be G2.
Has to be. That's like the one team on this entire list that you cannot count out. Yeah, 100%. But looking at the rankings going forward, G2 still sits in the number 1 spot. Genji in number 2, Luminosity hanging on to number 3 right now, and OG sitting in the 4th spot. So, I would say this
was
what?
Moist disappointing?
No, because I feel like I don't know. I'm not expecting to me they've finished, I feel like, how they should. I mean, it's, yeah, because that's the old Pirates on a Boat squad. So them not getting in there, is it a bummer? Yes, but I feel like they're right where they had been prior. So
okay,
no real, I don't know, not too disappointed with where they finished. So be curious. It kind of sucks, right? Because we do this, go through it, and then we're gonna start it all over again, kind of from scratch. Everybody's got to go play through the entire gambit again. So you just kind of reset and be like, all right, well, let's shake it up, and you shake it up and see who comes out on top this next time. But I don't know.
Yeah.
The kind of the topic we were getting to, I had sent you a thing about this. Here
we go. Yeah, here we go, folks. Now we're getting serious. We got through the major. Everyone watched, right? Like, everyone knows.
Everybody knows it.
Breaking it down. We can keep breaking it down and talk about the teams. That's what all the podcasts do. They just talk about what happened. They don't have any substance.
No, it's just kind of
calling you all out because I want you to come on our show. I want you all to talk with us.
You want to what? But on the screen here, what I had
on
seen,
the screen here,
what I had seen start to happen.
What happened was
on April 20th. I saw it from Vatira, and then as I started kind of backtracking through it,
I saw it from him too first.
Did you?
That was the first one. So then I saw it from a bunch of people, but where did you backtrack it to?
So I think it started with a Tao. So a Tao looks like the first tweet. Hey, Rocket League, is it possible to have news about the game? The servers are dead. There is now cheaters and DDoS. Lots of pros never received their RLCS money, and we actually have to tweet because in DMs we are talking to a wall. 0 answers, nothing. Do something for the game. And then the tweet that caught our eye is from Vatira, which this was reposted by a lot of people. Says, at Psionic Studios, the studio behind Rocket League needs to break the silence. Millions owed to pro players, servers being DDoSed and ranked, and lackluster communication. It's time to invest in those driving esports and evolve for the community's sake. So I had sent some feelers out to many people that we know in the scene, and I asked if this is a legit claim. And they resounding yes. They would not explain any more than yes, it's legit. That money has not been paid out. About a day later, to Vatira, actually, there's another response that I found. But Rocket League did respond and says the following. Hey, everyone. We've been seeing some active discussions surrounding RLCS that we want to address. There have been some delays in RLCS tournament prize processing for Rocket League, but all potential prize winners have been contacted or are scheduled to be contacted. Each potential prize winner's unique situation, example, age, global location, local laws, additional tax withholdings, etc., can affect the exact process they go through and the timeline to receive their prize. Players who are potential prize winners can always reach out to player support if they have prize issues so they can be investigated by our team here. And they put epicgames.com/help, which if we go to that is literally their generic help website. So,
what do you expect them to link?
I don't know. Maybe have something for... I'm guessing this was a generic response to address everybody in that it has potential prize winnings in RLCS now, since they did open it up pretty wide.
Yeah, this was ChatGPT responded.
What? I was about to say if you put it in ChatGPT and that's what it spit out, I'd laugh.
Straight up AI.
But yeah, this is kind of it's a little baffling. So I started trying to tally it up, and mind you, we don't know how much money has been paid, but I have been told by sources that there are people that haven't been paid. Actually, that one, it was Joyo's dad had commented saying that Joyo hadn't been paid since Boston last spring.
Boston.
So I don't know how to tally this up because other sources, when I asked, have your players been paid? The only response was, I want to get this right. It's a quick one-word answer, but it said some. I asked if that meant only certain players or only part of the money. They said certain players, I think all but one. So it sounds like each player is getting, that has been paid has gotten their full amount, but not all players have been paid. So my spreadsheet number is a little wrong, but it still totals up to $3 million, which Vatira had said in there that, as his stated, I believe it was there are millions owned to pro players. So how far does this go back is what I'm curious about. There have been responses to the point of Joyo's dad, here it's right here. Joyo has still not been paid for spring regionals and Boston Major, and no payments this year. Been asking for 1042 forms for 18 months, and it's seriously affecting his tax payments. Vatira's mom stating that she asked for 1042 documents, which I would guess are tax documents. 1042 stuff. After a year asking for it, I was finally given a contact email, and I contacted them 2 months ago, and no response since. So I kind of have an issue with the fact of their official response on Twitter. This is the only response that has come out to this, because at one point, Vatira and them were pushing a tweet as well that was talking about boycotting RLCS. But this being the only response, and the way that it has a link at the bottom to their generic help website, to me raises a lot of questions of what is going on. And I'm a little, I don't say upset with myself, but I'm bummed because I was somebody that had come around and was like tooting the horn, like, yeah, they're doing good. Like, major went really well. It's looking great. And then we see this come out. So it just feels like everything is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But this would be a major step back in the fact of you're not even paying everybody in a timely manner. Or we're talking, I mean, almost a year. Over a year of not getting paid.
Yeah, that hurts.
That's terrible.
That hurts, especially when they're touting the money, right? How much?
Yeah, they're touting the prize.
The prize pools. Oh, the prize pools. And I don't know that every player necessarily. Can't say that. I mean, if there's nothing in this world that if you earned it in some way that you wouldn't want to just get quickly.
Right.
Well, I don't know. There's no excuse.
Like, I would think a timely manner for paying out prize pool money would be 3 months. And to me, that's even...
Listen, in a perfect world, right? Like, they did make some points that you have to see. Age, location, local laws, tax withholdings. No.
No.
They did make some points that you have to understand that it's not going to be everyone gets paid in a couple months. But it seems to be well beyond what it should be.
You've been doing this for years. And you don't have a process.
Processes change, man. You know the government.
No, that's ridiculous. To sit there and say processes change, literally.
Winning money and earning money are completely different. It's completely different.
Did you just say winning money and earning money are completely different?
Yeah.
Did these kids not earn it?
It's different. I don't know what
Figure out how to classify yourself. That's probably why the NFL,
I'm
the
not
NBA,
making
the
excuses
WWE,
for them. I'm telling you that there is a reasonable amount of time that they should have. And it's not going to be a hard deadline of like a month or 2 or 3. It's going to be a range depending on circumstances. But it is definitely not, they are not within that range. They are well beyond, and it seems to be ridiculous. I'm just saying, you can't say, well, 2 days after you should get it. But also it goes back again, communication, transparency. Why is that so hard for people to understand? All you have to do is tell people what to expect and how to expect things, and then follow through with that, and you'll be fine.
Oh, well, I didn't even get to the saddest part with their statement. A lot of big names going in there and saying W comms. How is that good communication? Because like well, what is it? It's
They've set the bar so low.
Right. It's Stockholm syndrome. We literally like Rocket League. The Rocket League community is in Stockholm syndrome right now. Like, yes, keep beating us, and then you
or
give us
it's straight up trolling.
I don't know, because there's some names on this that I can't imagine their positions that they would be trolling that. Because if they are, I would be having some major discussions within Epic Games on why are we paying this person.
I'm just saying. All right, just listen.
I am listening.
It's bullshit.
You're wrong. Oh, I mean, you're right.
Got him.
Damn it. I fell for it.
It's just yeah, you're right. It's wild to see people support the answer, but 90% of them are not that.
They're not supporting the answer?
Yeah, this ain't a WCOM when people had to spam them for days to get their attention.
Yeah.
That's like the 10th one down for me. I know there's an algorithm showing me people that I know. We have tried via chat, but every time we get to a part about cash prizes, your employee cuts off the conversation. Joyo still hasn't been paid.
That
you have pending payments for 3 years. What do you mean some delays? This guy said exactly what I was trying to say, but he said it way shorter and right to the point. Sure, there will be some delays. We get that. But you're way beyond that. It's ridiculous. If you said that a month after, you're like, sorry, guys, we're getting there. We're trying to get it figured out. We're like, all right, cool. Thank you.
And
but that is not the case.
Like,
and it took a whole bunch of people coming out and saying it, right? Like a whole army with pitchforks saying, like, show us the money for them to even say this. It's sad.
It's very sad because I look at it as if you're going to be a company that is going to run an international tournament that is going to be on this stage, and you're not even going to do the legwork to figure out how do I do the basic functions, i.e. pay out people because I'm offering a prize money, whether that means that you start getting are we saying that you can't get contacts within governments to get this figured out? You need to start having some conversations then. You need to go start talking to people. The bigger thing that I kind of look at this and go, it's almost, I don't want to say, I don't know, like, what kind of worries me is that we don't see people like Lawler, Chalkcast, they're not even talking about this. They won't touch, it feels like they won't touch the topic. And I almost feel like if you even brought it up, they would have like kind of what you were saying. Oh, you guys don't know how difficult it is. Well, what do you mean we don't know how difficult it is? It doesn't matter how difficult it is. It's you figure it out. This is the one thing that's supposed to keep it going. At this point, I can't figure out why any of these people are still playing. It's almost like they're getting loans from the org. And, well, I mean, I guess Joyo's would be a very interesting one because when he played for Moist wasn't taking any of the player earnings. So I'm wondering if they were even paying the players at all a salary, or if the players were just expected to live off their earnings. Because these other players, they're getting a salary. We know that, even though we don't get told or can never find out how much they're actually making. So I don't know. It kind of puts this all into is it all a sham? Is it a shell game? And at some point, does this all fall apart? and then nobody gets paid. Is there a chance of that happening right now?
The whole thing could implode on them. Yeah, sure. They could just cut the whole program and then everyone's just chasing it. But I don't know. I don't. It's a reputation thing too.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to our conversation with Maverick that we had, and him with Frost, and then like the whole topic that we had with him was these tournaments that get put on and people not paying out the money. And the last thing that go ahead.
No, you're good.
The last thing that I thought would be happening is that RLCS fits into that category where they're not paying out the money that technically people have earned.
All right. Well, what I'm going to say again, I'm just not one to jump on bandwagons easily, right? And I just don't like to get the pitchforks out and complain. Like, it's just not, I don't know why. It's weird to me, and I don't complain for the sake of complaining. So show us. So I don't know, either side. We're just hearing, what do they call it? It's all hearsay.
It's all hearsay, right? And we're hearing just from the player side. You are completely right.
I'm not saying that they're wrong, but show me something that states there's millions of dollars. It could be just the most complicated ones aren't paid out, right? Like you just said that you've heard most players on one team or the other have been paid, right? I don't know. I'm just saying we need some more context before I'm gonna, burn the boats.
Well, what I kind of go to thinking as well is, if you want people to come play in your tournament
or in the castle,
then you should be putting out something that says, hey, if you would like to get paid,
if you want to get paid,
then here's the steps to follow.
Follow these steps.
Right? Like you would put out some sort of guide that says, these are the things that you need to do to ensure that we can pay you on time. Or
will pay you
in a timely manner.
In a timely manner, if you do these things.
You are so just done with this right now.
I'm saying exactly. Why is everyone so scared to just say stuff? Just communicate. Just be upfront. Just say, "Yep, this is the situation." I don't know.
Because, and I think that's why
tiring and exhausting and just blah.
Well, I think that's why I come with the pitchfork, because how many times have we seen this that you can't get a straight answer out of them, and now we're talking about something that is money that you said is there and ready to be and can be paid out, but then you don't have people actually taking care of it. Like just seeing some of the stories from like Vatira's mom of I've been waiting on a year for these documents and I can't even get in touch with somebody to help me get this taken care of. You're talking about a player that has been at the top of your quote unquote league.
Yeah, face.
Has been the face of it, and they can't even get their stuff taken care of. So what does that say about everything else? It just shows how dysfunctional it really is underneath.
Yeah, man. I guess you're probably more right than wrong. I have to give the benefit of the doubt to the fact that Epic and the game developers and everyone around it has not done the right things every time, or been upfront, or given us any information, or just been in the right more often than not. So why am I trying to do it now?
Because you're a good person.
No, I just
and you come from the right mindset.
I like the facts. I like to know facts.
I agree.
But we're not going to get them.
We're not going to get them. You're right. We never are. So that's what makes this whole situation even that
we're not gonna get them, man.
That much more difficult. But yeah, there's more Rocket League to be played.
Good. It should be a lot of fun.
It should be. The games are always good. That's what makes you feel good about it at the end of the day. Before we go, taking a look over at EU.
Ew.
Most of your normal names are in there. It's just the EU side, so we'll see what happens. We'll see if Gentlemates comes out on top and continues their run from the major. Is Vitality able to sneak back up there, and can Carmine Corp? But one of those three has got to end up on top. So we'll see. It's interesting to see EU technically with Gentlemates winning the major. You could say EU is a 3-horse race, and right now NA is a 2-horse race. So, but yeah. Oh, the only other news going on out of the sub-Saharan Africa region, there's no sub-Saharan Africa players that made it to the Swiss. It was all EU players. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but we will see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm excited to check some more. I mean, see some more Rocket League, but we'll see.
We shall see.
Hopefully
it gets better.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, man.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough one because it keeps circling back to the same issue. So hopefully one day it'll get better. But for now, that was this episode of Bucket and Hoosier Show. If you liked it,
Bucket and Hoosier. Working on a song.
Ooh, that would be good. If you enjoyed what you heard, give it a share, give it a like. Make sure to follow on all major podcast platforms, and we appreciate you guys as always. And we will catch you next time. Have a good one.
Sir.
Bye.